Hi there, welcome to another episode of Insights from NetSupport. My name is Mark Anderson. I'm the Head of Education at NetSupport, and today I'm really excited to bring someone onto the show who I've seen sharing so many times. And one of the things that really resonates with me about the things that this educator shares is that it's just full of creativity. And you know, one of the things that I love about technology is it gives you the opportunity to do things that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the technology. And our guest today is someone who really does share that sort of vision and creates great resources. I won't steal his thunder and tell you everything about him, but he first came to my attention when he was nominated for one of the Global EdTech Awards and was a finalist there. He shares not just across his country, but across Europe, but the world. He's a really well-respected Apple Distinguished Educator, but I'll let him tell you more about the work he does and all of that now. It gives me great pleasure to introduce onto Insights with NetSupport the one and only Christoffer Dithmer. Welcome to the show, Christoffer. How are you doing today?
I'm so thankful for being here, and I'm having such a lovely day back home. So it's a great day, and looking forward to the chat with you, Mark. So thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Where is home, Chris?
Home for me is nearby Copenhagen in Denmark. I live in Copenhagen and work in Vallensbæk, 20 kilometers from here. So I have the opportunity to work from home today. So I'm thankful for that.
Working from home it can be a good thing and a bad thing. We end up doing chores around the house all day. Sometimes I find.
Yeah.
Your work. So you were nominated for that award at the Global EdTech Awards and were a finalist there. I see you sharing amazing things. Can you tell me a little bit about your work and what inspires you to do what you do?
What inspires me is that I want to light up the meaningful use of technology, because the conversation in Denmark at the moment is about how can we limit the children's screen time and make them play more. And I want to show them how, and show you and all persons in the globe, how can we play with technology in meaningful ways. So I think I have to share that many stuff because I'm eager to show the way. My way, it's not the right way, but I want to show ways where you can be creative in meaningful ways with technologies.
And there's so much that you can do. Well, what is your day job, Chris?
Yeah, my day job is, I have 3 different roles in my day job. I'm a teacher in a first grader class, a 5th grader class, and an 8th grader class. But I'm also an EdTech supervisor at one local school where I work with up-qualifying the teachers' competences to make tech education themselves. But I'm also in Vallensbæk municipality working as a project leader of EdTech and Makerspaces. So both for the daycares, also for the schools, but also for adult life and free time. How can we use it in our free time, these technologies? So it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like you're keeping very busy. I love what I see you sharing on social media. And if you want to follow Chris and get involved with what he does, I'm sharing, for those of you watching, I'm sharing Chris's social details across the bottom at the moment. If you're listening to the podcast, you can follow Chris on X, or Twitter as it was formerly known, as Chris, CHRIS Dithmer, Dithmer. He shares an awful lot of great resources there, demonstrating creativity, and it links into your Makerspace work as well. I want to ask you, Chris, in terms of using technology for learning, what does that look like for you?
I think, like I said before, one of the most important words when talking technology in education, it's always remember the word meaningful, because in Denmark, and I don't know if the same at your place, but we have seen far too many examples where we have seen technology used just like a fun gimmick. And it's really, really extremely expensive just using technology in education for fun gimmicks, because then, in my opinion, it won't be integrated into the everyday teaching afterwards. So it's just fun gimmicks you see as a student once in a while, but we want to use it when it's necessary to bring more value into classrooms. So the word meaningful is really, really important here, because when we talk about meaningful technology for the students, we also have to talk about teachers taking ownership of how they want to use technology in their own teaching, because we like the fun gimmicks for the students. The fun gimmick is possibly been made by a supervisor or consultant where the teachers ain't taking ownership of how we're using technology. So I think it's really, really crucial that the teachers is giving the opportunity to take ownership, but also lighten up the students' interest in how they want to use the technologies in the classroom. So it's some of the most important things, if you ask me about it.
No, I completely agree. You know, just because you can do something with technology doesn't mean that you should. I've long shared the idea that you know, if you're using technology as a gimmick, it might, you know, engage the learners for a short while, but actually what you're doing is you're undermining your professionalism. You want students to learn, you want them to learn from you and for you to show off your professional understanding of the topics that you're expert in. And so using technology as a gimmick undermines you as a teacher, I think. I think it undermines the technology and what you're trying to achieve by integrating it. I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head there, Chris, with what you shared. So thank you so much for sharing
More
that.
than welcome.
Thank
But
you.
I think if you use it as a fun gimmick, in my opinion, it should be the very start of like a project-based learning project where you want to make you motivated, Mark. So I can do a fun gimmick and you can say, wow, this is fantastic. Now I want to work with it and learn from it. So that's a proper way to use it as fun gimmicks, because you are using it in processes afterwards. So that could be a way to use it like a little gimmick into the meaningful way.
Yeah, no, that's it. And I think again, you've used the same word, haven't you? Meaningful. When
Yeah.
you use it as a learning hook, is, you know, sometimes these things are a hook to get students
Mm.
inspired and so forth and so on. But I was thinking more gimmicky, you know, like some of the VR experiences that you see. You know, you go on a roller coaster or you go to the moon or whatever. Now, again, those experiences could be really useful, couldn't they? If I'm a physics teacher and I'm teaching about gravity and acceleration and all those sort of things, then a roller coaster might be a really good thing to use. But using it just because it's fun and then putting the technology away and starting what you're actually learning, for example,
Yeah.
isn't really meaningful, like you say. I
It's
wanted
true
to
because
jump. Sorry, go on,
sorry.
Chris.
It,
You
it,
carry on.
it's so true, because if you use it that way, the student will be pacified by the technology. There wouldn't be any producers in the classroom. There would be a producer across the world maybe doing that project for you, but then the students wouldn't get the opportunity to understand that we have to use technologies when we are producers, not pacified users.
I think that leads on quite nicely to my next question, actually, because I wanted to ask you about makerspaces. Because I say, if you're consumers of content, you're not as involved and you're not showing your learning and you're not learning on that journey and things as well. Makerspaces give young people the opportunity to be creators, to sort of demonstrate their learning through their creativity. So could you tell us a little bit about what a makerspace is, and should every school have one? And if they should have one, why should they have one?
The first thing I try to imagine when you ask what is a makerspace, I think it's a super hard question to answer, because there isn't a single answer to that question, because a makerspace should really not look like the same room if you drop by my makerspaces in Valensbæk and if I come to your makerspaces. It's really important that makerspaces doesn't look like the same, because then we have just go to a company and say, hey, I would like a makerspace, and they have put it into my school. So it's really important that every makerspace is unique to the school it's at, but also to its users, because if we ain't make it unique, we won't use it in the everyday teaching afterwards, because that's just show me you haven't asked the question to the teachers and to the students, what would you like to do and learn in makerspaces. So it's really important to keep it unique, but also make it a place where we can work with the same task, but we can complete the tasks in a really different kind of ways, where maybe I'm a little, I don't know how to say it, but I think if you look at school books, right, they only like have one kind of solution to each task, and then that's a little boring for me as a teacher. So one of the things I admire about makerspaces is when you can give the students one task and they can learn how to solve it in multiple ways. Also because it would make the student embrace their own like the diverse strengths. So they have a lot of solutions to do. And in Denmark, it's really rare that we work individual in makerspaces. It's always group work. And in makerspace tasks, there's so many different tasks to do before completing the whole activity. You have to work with text, images, videos, sound, but also the physical productions. So in my opinion, all pupils can shine in makerspaces if we learn how can we work with the processes in makerspaces. So that was a really long answer to a quite a short question. It's just so important that we engage the community in how do we want the makerspace to look like, because we have seen in Denmark so many makerspaces ain't been used in the school day because they just got the makerspace. So it's so important.
So tell me a little bit about your makerspace then, Chris. What sorts of tools the children have access to help them come up with these multiple sort of solutions? What things do they have available to them?
Shortly, I can say that our makerspace is focused on having an approach to as many classes and subjects as possible. So it should not just be for the science classes. It should also be for the language classes, where we can go doing videos and podcasting and stuff like that, or going to the makerspace, renting a microphone, going outside, doing voice recording. So it's really important for us that it have a right approach to the school day, but also after the school day, how do we use technologies in after school programs? So we show the educators that's in the after school program, hey, this is also a place for you after school. So that's I hope that's what you see if you come to our makerspaces, that it's suitable for all the classes and subjects.
Well, that's fantastic to learn. And say technology in the hands of children who want to be creative and letting them have that opportunity to sort of go with what they want to, I think can be really inspiring for them and helpful, particularly when they're guided by somebody who knows what they're doing with all these different pieces of technology as well. I want to talk to you about tools, Chris. What tools do you like to use with learners? Have you got any creative examples of things that you like to use with your learners?
I've brought some things today about it. I think we have done some of the same mistakes like others, just brought in technologies without having the conversation about why. So everything we bring into the Makerspaces now is really, really important for us, that we can see that the students can work like freely with the technologies in multiple ways. So it's not just a game or a robot that can't be used in a lot of different classes. So it's really important for us that it can be used freely. Some of the things we are using a lot at the moment is like these sandboxes apps like CoSpaces or Minecraft at the moment, because we see that the technical skills that the teachers are going to have to use it is not that high, because we have a lot of resources in Denmark of how to use it. So we can do video education with the students in class, so the teacher can keep and focus on the subject, and then we can work on how can you use it in that way. So I think some of the sandboxes apps is really accessible, but also motivating for the kids to use in class, because a key word for me is also here that the technology we bring in, you have to be able to use it from the youngest classes to the oldest classes, because then you can see the benefit of the use. Because if you can only use the technology right before exam, you're not necessarily comfortable with it as a student, because you haven't used it over time. So I think about like technologies I recommend is that you can use it for a lot of years, so you can see so you can use the subject in your solution really, really quickly in a highly like qualified way. So I think CoSpaces and Minecraft is a really, really great way to do it, because we can also share it with the parents afterwards without the parents even have to have a login or stuff like that. They only have to have a computer, a tablet, or a phone at home, and can get a QR code or a link. And I think that's a way to show our community there's a meaning to bring technology into the classroom when we can share the product and processes afterwards in an easy way. So that's one tool.
I wanted to ask you, Chris. Say, lots of people will be aware of Minecraft. It's hugely popular globally, but some of our listeners might not have heard of CoSpaces before. And obviously,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. And we were talking about CoSpaces a bit before we went live. And you share examples on your social media. And again, if you wanted to follow Chris, you can do so at Chris Dithmer. I'll just pop the socials up again for you there. But for those people who don't know CoSpaces, could you explain what it is? And then, the great thing about it is you can do so much with it. It's like you say, it's really broad in what you can actually do with it. But could you explain what it is to those who don't know what it is?
It's a way to use communication tools in so many ways. You have like a blank canvas. And I think one of the great strengths about CoSpaces is that you can drag and drop 3D models into the blank canvas. So if you're not the big creator or you don't have that much time in the teaching, the students is able to just drag a 3D model of a person, changing the skin color, the hair color, the clothing. So it's really, really easy to get building, and you can work with it in so many ways. You can make text boxes, you can do voice memos. So if you press me, I will start talking, but you can also do coding. So it's for me as a teacher, it's one of the big strengths, because you can do really, really simple solutions in CoSpaces, but you can also do highly nerdy products in CoSpaces. And that's really one of the suitable things for classrooms, because our student skills levels is on a wide range, but here they can work on the same topic in the same program, and the teacher and the students can follow the processes. Because if you're in a classroom in CoSpaces, the teacher will give a live watch of how the groups are working out. And if you, Mark, are really good, I know you're good at the communication stuff. So if you would like to help my group, I can drag and drop you into my group for 10 minutes, helping us with doing voice memos. And then we can kick you out of the group and back to your normal group. So it's a really great way for the students' differences here. So a lot of solutions, but you can do it so simple in just one lesson and then finished and to another one. So does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. Thank you very much. I was wondering as well, because you share quite a few templates for CoSpaces as well. Would you mind sharing an example of one of those templates that you've shared and what you can do with it?
We can take some of the newest, the things we have been worked with due to the exam in science last year is the combination with MergeCube. It's a little square. I have it here. It's this little square where you can combine your 3D models into it, so you can see it in augmented reality. We have worked with it in science exams where the students have to do the solar system, for example, if they want to. So they can bring it to the exam and like giving the teachers at the exam this like wow experiences, and then talking about the subjects underneath. So that's one of the newest thing. We have also done a bit about Halloween coming up, so you can use CoSpaces to work with emotions and stuff like that. So also for the mental well-being part of going to school, you can use it to clarify and show your insight in emotions and stuff like that. So it's both for the highest class, but also for the persons who have to have a little more focus on how can I be in great shape being in school as well. And the the Makerspace stuff about CoSpaces is, you said, can you share it? You can share it in CoSpaces, but you can also remix it. And that's one of the best Makerspace thing about CoSpaces is that you can do some great stuff, Mark. You can send it to me and I can remix it and do it more personal for me, send it back to you and you can remix it again. So I think that's one of the things we want to learn our kids is that it's okay in some ways to steal ideas if you make them unique and personal afterwards. So that's a great way to experience it for the first time, maybe in CoSpaces.
Well, I wouldn't be, here. There's that quote, isn't there? If I have seen further, it's because I've been standing on the shoulders of giants. I think it is, and we all do better and do more when we've learned from other people. We push the envelope further when we're able to do things like say remix things from CoSpaces and lots of things like that. And one of the things that you said, Chris, about CoSpaces, which for me, for lots of tools which are good for sort of broad learning activities, that ability to be low stakes, i.e. easy to pick up, easy to use, but then really broad in what you can then do with it. And we mentioned Book Creator off air, for example. Tools like this that are so quick and easy to pick up, but can do and help you with so many different learning activities have to be applauded and considered and used. So thank you very much for sharing your experiences with CoSpaces and some of the other tools that you like to use with your learners as well. I'm mindful of our time, so I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I have got another question to ask you because you're very experienced in supporting educators with their use of technology, not just children, but you help teachers get better at using technology effectively. So I wanted to ask you, and you've shared lots of great advice already, Chris. Thank you ever so much. But what do you see as being the sort of secrets to effective technology use, and how do you, because technology moves forward so quickly, right? So what are the secrets to effective technology use, and how do you stay on top of new developments?
I think I have 3 or 4 secrets, so that's not secrets anymore. So I think the first one is about like a municipality where I work, we have to be brave because the debates in Denmark and I think globally at the moment is about limiting the screen time. So we rather at my work want to talk about the best case examples with a low technical level, because we have seen for too many years the technical level have been way too high sometimes in class, so we can't continue it afterwards. So I think we have to show the examples where we can lower the expectations and the technical skills, so everyone can work with it in a creative way, so we're just not passive users of it. So it's about being brave, but also being reflected and listening to the students, because we have to work on more closer to life activities, if you ask me about it, because if we're going to do that in class, technology is a really, really great way to work with a closer to life perspectives in class. But we don't have to save the world every time we work with closer to life aspects in class, but it can also just be really, really small solutions we can show about that. We have some examples about how can we make students go to class who feel really bad about going to schools. Then we can use ThingLink or stuff like that to show how do you get into the school, how do you enter the class, so they can give like a visual insights in how do we reach school, because it's really reflected. We're listening to the students and using technology in meaningful ways. And I think the third one could be about, we have to make sure that every kid is working with technologies in school. It can't be like a lottery. Do you get a teacher who's really good with books or technology? We have to create a framework for all our schools in Denmark and globally as well. So all students meet staff, both educators, but also supervisors, who will show them a way of how to use technologies. And that's some of the things that's important. You have to create a framework, because it's too easy ain't using technology if you're not comfortable using technology. So we have to support our teachers with a meaningful framework for them. So that was 3 secrets.
Brilliant. Listen, so thank you for sharing those secrets, there, Chris. Thank you. But you are definitely on the sort of cutting edge of knowing what is current, though. So how do you stay on top of new technologies? Is it? Do you attend courses? Do you get through social? How do you stay on top of new
Yeah.
things?
The thing we are having a big issue about in Denmark is at the moment is about the GDPR regulation about the personal data. So in Denmark at the moment, it's super important for the municipalities to have a close collaboration with both teachers, supervisors, but also the IT department and the municipalities, because we have to find solutions of how to use, for example, AI tools in classroom, but we have to do it in legal ways, so we make sure everything is okay. So if we can establish a collaboration with these 3 parts, it's a way to keep up to date with the IT development, in my opinion. But the way we are going to do it, the way we are doing it at my work is that we are doing Makerspaces after school clubs. So the students can come with a family member or friend to our open, and it's in cost. There's no they have no entrance. They don't have to pay anything to enter our Makerspaces club. But that's a way that we show the public of Vallensbæk that they can come to this class. It's okay to be nerdy, and you can come here and get an insight in what's going on with both the AI stuff, but also the more physical productions. And we are offering the same thing for all our staff members. So we have like this public events, but we have the same public event for a more closer group for all the staff members in Vallensbæk. So both the teachers, but also our daycare workers and all personal staff in Vallensbæk is invited to having this workshop for a more updated view on technology.
Well, that's fantastic to hear that bit at the end there, Chris, involving all stakeholders. And that's not just the children, that's not just the teachers, but it's also, the whole community in these things is super important. And the research underpins that. The research says that if you've got a strong relationship between home, teacher, and child, that triangulation, those 3 key points, then that is one of the best ways to try to support the child. So lovely to hear you share that sort of real life example of what you're doing there. Well, listen, that's it. That's it for my questions. You've survived. Well done. Thank you very much for sharing your insights. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation, Chris. Thank you for giving us some time and sharing. Thank you to you, our viewers, for coming on and listening to us on our Insights with NetSupport vlog and podcast. If you'd like to learn more about Chris, as I shared, and you can see across the bottom, you can follow Chris on social media. I've also got a link there to his link tree where you can find links to his Instagram and other platforms where he shares. And as I said, some fantastic templates and other bits and bobs that Chris shares, and creative approaches to using technology to support teaching and learning every single day. And as you've heard from Chris himself, he's very good at not just communicating, but collaborating and engaging and all those different things as well. So, wrapping things up, thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. Thank you to you, our listeners and viewers, for joining us for this episode of Insights with NetSupport. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I always point the wrong way, but it's either down there or down there. So please do subscribe to the YouTube channel or to our podcast. And we look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Insights with NetSupport. Thanks again, Chris, and we'll see you on the next episode. Until then, take care, everybody. Look after yourself out there, and see you soon. Cheers.